This is TomoNews for Thursday, November 24th. Angry driver dumps his load of corn on the highway after getting fired by text. A Pennsylvania trucker is in trouble with the law after his attempt at revenge completely backfired. Darren Welp had been texting his boss while driving a truckload of corn to Kansas last August. While on a stretch of Nebraska road, the 36-year-old got a message saying he'd been fired. Fuming, he abruptly stopped the truck and went to carry out his genius plan to get the last laugh. He opened the grain trailer's bottom hatch doors and let more than $3,000 in corn slowly spill out. Welp then got in the truck and took off, letting the rest of the corn pour out onto the highway for a quarter of a mile. The cops weren't so happy about cleaning up the mess, which reportedly cost him $500. Welp was arrested last week and is facing felony criminal mischief and depositing materials on a roadway charges.
Hawk kills pet parakeet and gets trapped in birdcage. A boy in Arizona and his pet parakeet, Snowy, are mourning the loss of the bird's best friend, after a hawk swooped in, killed it, then found itself trapped inside its victim's cage. On the morning of November 21st, the boy's mother decided to leave the birdcage out on their backyard patio table to let the birds enjoy some fresh air. Little did she realize that a predator with a keen eye had been surveying the area from the sky. Moments later, the hawk flew down and managed to squeeze through the cage, unleashing a ruthless attack. Feathers were flying as the birds tussled, with Snowy managing to stay alive during the cage match. The boy's mother heard the loud banging and ran over to see the rogue bird trapped, with one of the parakeets laying lifeless on the cage floor. The mother was able to reach in and save Snowy, but her mate, Petey, was dead. Her 9-year-old son, devastated, said he wished his pet could have lived longer, but was in heaven now. Meanwhile, Petey's killer was released shortly after the fight, but returned to the murder scene 15 minutes later in search of its breakfast.
Instagram star has a creepy stalker. Or does she? An Instagram star who claims another woman has been following her and producing near-exact copies of her photos stands accused of staging an elaborate hoax. 23-year-old Australian Lauren Bullen and her photographer boyfriend Jack Morris produce advertisements for clients on Instagram. Last week, Bullen claimed that she was being stalked by a copycat. The woman follows Bullen around the world, creating strikingly similar photos, down to the exact same outfits, locations, and lighting. Bullen's story aroused suspicions because copying her posts would be extremely time-consuming and expensive. Bullen profits from these trips because clients pay for the posts to advertise their products. Her stalker, who goes by the name Diana, does not seem to have any sponsors. Also, Diana is taller than Bullen, and the outfits look much smaller on her. Business Insider dug into the story, and its senior graphics editor said the photos appear to have been taken around the same time, though not directly after the other. Bullen, who already had more than 700,000 Instagram followers, gained another 200,000 followers after the story about her stalker went viral. She said she had spoken with the copycat and forgiven her, but she won't put prying journalists in touch with Diana. Diana made her account private and she isn't talking. And then there's what many are calling the smoking gun, a Google search that links Bullen's Twitter accounts to Diana. In an interview with Cosmopolitan, Bullen said she and her boyfriend are both established Instagram bloggers and that there's no way they would risk their fame for something like this. The Cosmopolitan writer seems to believe her, noting that many, though not all, of Bullen's Instagram tags for her outfits and locations would have given the stalker all the information she needed. But that writer didn't talk to Diana either. So we're inclined to see this as just the latest case of a social media star exploiting her fans in ways that advertisers in traditional media could only dream of. But what do you think? Was this an elaborate publicity stunt? Or does Bullen have a really dedicated stalker? Aussie kid has a lucky escape in Bali. An Australian teenager this week was facing the prospect of spending up to 12 years in an Indonesian jail after he was found with a white powder suspected to be cocaine. But Perth teen Jamie Murphy walked free after lab tests revealed the white powder in the 18-year-old's possession didn't contain any illegal drugs. Jamie was arrested in the early hours of Tuesday at the Sky Garden nightclub in Bali when security guards found the white powder in his bag during a random search. But Jamie's friends said he was set up. One of Jamie's mates posted videos and photos of the arrest to Facebook. He said the images clearly show the white powder in the security guard's hand before he opened Jamie's bag. But the Sky Garden Club countered those claims, saying the video showed a reenactment of the search that was staged for the TV cameras. The club released this CCTV footage, which it said shows Jamie being stopped and searched by security guards as he entered the venue. According to the club, this was the moment that members of its security staff found the bag of white powder inside Jamie's bag. Jamie was then taken away for further questioning. According to Bali police, Jamie admitted to getting the powder from someone outside the club, who told him it would make him feel good. Jamie was held for 45 hours while police forensics tested the powder and analyzed his blood and urine for drug use. Under Indonesia's strict anti-drug laws, Jamie could have been jailed for up to 12 years and fined $600,000. But the lab results confirmed the white powder was in fact a mixture of painkillers, caffeine, cold, flu, and cough medicine. In short, Jamie was ripped off by whomever sold him the powder. A somewhat disappointed-sounding Bali police chief told reporters this was the first time the police station had a negative drug result after making such a discovery. The police chief said Jamie was very lucky, adding that he didn't want to say if the kid was stupid or not.
15-year-old meth dealer in Australia busted by police. A young teen in Australia has been taken into custody by police after a raid that uncovered high quantities of meth and ecstasy. Police were actually targeting a lower-level drug dealer, a 31-year-old woman, recorded making a deal for 100 grams of meth with a street value of $100,000. This same deal was done on 3 separate occasions. The voice on the other line was a man known in the game as Mr. Big. The police were able to track the woman down in her car, carrying roughly $45,000 worth of meth. They then discovered the kingpin was barely a man at all, just a 15-year-old boy living at his girlfriend's mother's house. When detectives entered the home, they uncovered a reported 30 grams of meth and 30 grams of ecstasy, hidden in the boy's underwear. The boy is being charged with 2 counts of conspiring to sell a prohibited drug, 1 count of selling a prohibited drug, and 2 counts of possessing a prohibited drug with intent to sell or supply. The boy's parents were apparently unaware of his underground dealings, and police fear they may be targeted for his outstanding debts. Walter White's got nothing on this kid.
Wayne State police officer shot dead. A Wayne State University cop died in the hospital on Wednesday night after he was shot in the head while on patrol. Canine Officer Colin Rose was shot on Tuesday evening a few blocks away from the university's campus in Detroit. The 29-year-old is the first Wayne State officer to be killed in the line of duty. The incident began on Tuesday when Rose was alone on patrol with his 2 dogs. The officer approached a man on a bike who residents had complained was causing trouble in the area. When Rose tried to slap cuffs onto the suspect, a struggle ensued, and witnesses said at least 3 gunshots were fired. Rose suffered at least 1 gunshot wound to the head and was rushed to the hospital. Despite undergoing surgery, the officer died of his injuries on Wednesday. A suspect named as D'Angelo Davis has been arrested, and police were trying to establish a motive for the killing. Residents said the suspect was homeless and had been living in a park nearby.